Hello, good evening. 62 days until I run the entire length of Germany. Um, I'm currently struggling with this whole upload videos to YouTube thing. Admittedly, I thought it was a situation like Instagram, similar to Instagram. I thought I can click a button and upload. But that was, I have learned yesterday and today, naive. That is not the case. Not at all, actually. Um, I'm also learning that I have no idea how these things really work. The quality of videos and just the whole specific lingo surrounding these things. I'm a novice. Technology, I must admit, is not my strong suit. Be that as it may, I'm figuring it out. I'm gonna get on top of it. But it's annoying because it's 1 a.m. now, and with the exclusion of this part of my day, I've become very good at managing a high workload throughout an entire day. One of the things fuck me. One of the things I've done recently was implement a specific habit regime for my mornings and for my evenings. So in the morning, in an ideal scenario, a morning looks like this. I get up sometime around when the sun gets up, and the very first thing I do is I get out of bed, I put on some slippers and maybe a coat or something if it's cold, and I go outside. I sleep on the second floor in this, it's a construction site really, but I have a balcony. And so I go outside, and it's the very first thing I do. I'm still very sleepy, my eyes are still kind of, what's the term? Well, they're fucked, they're closed, basically. And I walk around a little until my eyes are nice and open, and I feel a little revitalized and alive and conscious. And then I sit with whatever thoughts I have. Lately, I've been thinking about my travels a lot. My solo hike across Europe has been on my mind in the mornings. So I get up, sunlight, very first thing I do, and then some mobility, specifically hips, knees, ankles, and shoulders. I'm focusing on those. I'm not doing specific movements, more so than I am incorporating moving by feel. I don't know how many of you have heard of animal flow practices. I don't do them. It's just that I'm communicating with my body, if that makes sense. I'm a physical therapist by training. I'm a studied physical therapist, a licensed physical therapist. And it's easy to be boxed into your school of thought in terms of movement, biomechanics and such. But I try to go move whatever I'm feeling, and in unconventional ways too. I like to bend and rotate and just feel myself in those positions. I recommend it. So sunlight, mobility, and then the next thing, brush my teeth immediately and then eat breakfast. I like to go for a large breakfast just because with this training and workload, it's important to get some calories down. And so it's good to start the day off with some food. I like to go for some eggs. I usually do 4 eggs, sunny side up, and then maybe a banana or two and an orange or an apple. And I usually keep it at that. If I'm fancying it, I will eat some fucking cereal with milk. I like to go with fat milk. I like a good fatty cow milk. And that's my morning. After breakfast. So I'm still debating on this, but I journal. So I have this little bad boy here, and I journal ideally even before going down for breakfast, after the mobility whole thing. But I've noticed I've been doing it differently over the past few days, or at least there has been some difference in terms of execution. So, sunlight, mobility, brush your teeth, eat breakfast, journal, and cold shower. So those 6 things I like to get done before I start my day. Ideally, I don't even check my phone whatsoever before I've done those things. I will treat myself occasionally to some content, watch something while I'm eating breakfast. But that's a habit I want to get rid of, generally. Just be more present, I suppose. That's been working great. I do similar things in the evening, so I like to sit down and I have this Project 61 journal. Let me show you here. So let me just show you the first page. This is the bad boy. And so I have, like, every day is documented to some degree. And I write down my training, and I write down what I have to do, what I want to get done, and all of that. And so in the evenings, I will sit down and I will write out what I want to do the next day. Very helpful. Evenings as well, some mobility work, some journaling, and then this is a new habit I want to get done every single evening. Excuse me. But yeah, so this documentary series has been fucking up my sleep, and I can't really afford to fuck up my sleep because I can't really afford to waste mornings, and I've kind of wasted a morning today. Originally, I planned to be on the bike and do 60 minutes of biking by 6:30. So I wanted to be out the door by 6:30 a.m. But I got into bed at like 4 a.m. last night with the first video, which was a whole fucking shit show. And so I decided to kind of push everything back a few hours. Which is shit, because then everything you have planned for later on in the day, you have to sacrifice somewhere. And so today I had plans to meet a good friend at 11 a.m. But I just, at the moment, I can't sacrifice anything for the training. The training is right now number one in my life. Which is perhaps one thing I could talk about today. I've recently befriended Zach Pogdrop. I was in New York and I ran with him and we spoke briefly, and though the interaction was brief, I felt genuinely that we got along, we understood each other. And I mean that on a visceral, on a spiritual level. We are similar in certain ways. So I speak of him as a friend now. Mainly because that part of my personality is so niche that it very seldom finds companionship in other people. And with him I did. And one thing Zach is phenomenal at is a consistent and diligent dedication to his obsession. So he talks about very sorry. He talks about prioritizing the mission over everything. And I'm in a point in my life where I'm navigating how to embrace the intensity that I often want to communicate with the world. I can be a very intense guy in many ways, but I mean specifically more so in terms of training, of becoming. I can be very intense. And I'm navigating how to be a little more loose sometimes. I think Stoicism, the Stoic mindset, has gained some enormous popularity, mainly thanks to Ryan Holiday. And there's profound and powerful wisdom to be found in Stoicism, a lot of truth, a lot of strength. One aspect of Stoicism I take issue with is the crass and intense conviction that your emotions have to be under control at all times. I suppose the school of thought is good to practice because inevitably I don't think you can always control your emotions. I don't think it's a possible. I'm not sure it's possible. But to strive for something in the pursuit of it is inevitably to understand that you won't at all times succeed. But the aim is to succeed as many times as you can. I find that I think I prefer to embrace all that I'm feeling, which is tricky. It's a tricky slope because it opens the gateway to embracing feelings of compulsion and of blind passion and even laziness and all that. So it's difficult to navigate. But I feel as though Stoicism also kind of it creates a difficult barrier to entry for a lightheartedness, goofiness. And I want to become something. I really do. I want to make something of myself. I have a relatively clear vision of the man I want to be. And he's quite the fucking guy. But I wish not to give up my capacity to be childish, to be funny. And even with this, talking into a camera, consciously knowing that people whom I know and people whom I don't know will be consuming this, and thereby inevitably and inherently making a judgment on me, which I don't take the issue with the judgment. You're welcome to think whatever you wish and whatever you like. It's more so the fact that I'm just conscious of it happening. So inevitably, I filter to some degree how I behave, how I speak. I think with time in this process, it's going to become more and more natural and authentic and real. I'm trying to be real as I can right now. But yeah, I'm currently navigating I want to be as stoic as I can possibly be, while embracing the guy who I was today on my way into the city. I was in the car listening to this amazing, great fucking Polish song. And I was in the car behind the steering wheel, and I was dancing, and I was screaming, and I was having a good time. And in times of my life where I have been extremely intense on something, I made it a clear point not to allow that sort of behavior into my life. When I lived in Switzerland, for the first 3 months of prep for Project 61, I was almost by nature a very different man than many friends know me to be. That is not to say that the man I was in Switzerland is less me. That is not to say that who I was in Switzerland was fake or an act. Who I was in Switzerland was me discovering intense, powerful, rigorous parts of myself. And one thing I've also learned is that now, having done that, approaching May, having spent January, February, and March in a quite intense state of mind with extremely rigorous training, difficult training through a lot of pain and in a lot of snow and cold and rain, I am now lighter my soul is lighter because I've had the opportunity to communicate that intensity with the world, and more so even with myself. I was able to get in touch with that man who gets up at 5:30 a.m., puts the running shoes on, runs through a snow blizzard into work, spends 10 hours at work, does 600 push-ups during work. Maybe even I'll spend 16 hours at work, and I will do my 50 push-ups for every hour spent at work consecutively. And then after work, after 16 hours of work, I will run home in the fucking snow blizzard at night. And I will get home and I will shower cold and I will eat and then I will train again because I promised myself to get a specific amount of training in the day. And then I will go to sleep. And it's 3 a.m. and I have to be up again by 5:30. To do that consecutively and repeatedly, that it requires a specific man. And Switzerland was all about being that man. And don't get me wrong, I'm still dedicated. I'm working very hard. But I'm now trying to pursue, in these next 2 months of prep for Project 61, I'm not trying to pursue balance, but I'm trying to think of it this way. With Switzerland, I turned around, metaphorically, within my soul, and I grabbed that intense guy by the fucking collar and I pulled him out and I told him, "You're up. Have fun." And now I'm trying to be more so a man who, within my own soul, turns around and gives the men he sees there his attention, his admiration, his respect, and his gratitude for them being there. I mean all aspects of me. I mean even the lazy individual. Think of it figuratively. You're stood in this realm of nothingness. And it's completely white. Imagine white everywhere, as far as the eye can stretch. And you're stood in front of you, the same physical image of you, embodied in the same body that you have, with the same balls and the same hair on your lower back and the same, hairline. And you stood in front of 5 of them, and you have in front of you the lazy, hedonistic, comfortable version, and you have there in front of you dedicated and hardworking, and you have emotional and passionate, and you have perhaps whatever. Right now, I'm trying to incorporate all of them into one sentient being. It's tricky because I don't wish to allow for myself to fall back into hedonistic patterns or laziness or comfort. I'm still very much against those things. But I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to communicate with all of them. I'm navigating a ship right now and I know where the fuck the ship's headed. Well, all that to say, my mission right now is Project 61. My mission right now is to run across Germany. That's my mission. Everything else in my life right now ranks lower. I heard this beautiful thing once said by Conor McGregor. Now, I'm not a fan of who Conor McGregor is nowadays. I'm not a fan of who he has become. I'm not a fan of how he embodies himself now and who he manifests as. But anyone who knows of the come up of Conor McGregor, anyone who knows what it was like to witness this man on the come up to greatness, it was a thing of beauty. Conor McGregor, when he was rising to greatness, one of the most beautiful, inspirational stories of human history. That man, beautiful. And he said a few years back in this interview, it's like a clip of him in the car, driving the car, and then this guy next to him in the car says, "And you don't like people, do you?" And Conor says, "It's not that I don't like people, it's just that to be at the pinnacle of any endeavor, it has to be like that. It has to be no outsiders. It has to be people you can trust. you have no time for people who are not about this life. Now, be that wrong or right, it's an attractive school of thought to me. But, yeah, I suppose. Well, today was the very first evening that I have spent with friends this year. I realized this while sat next to them. I was with Kai and Laura and Kitty and Kirsten and Cody, their dog. And I'm sat there and I'm thinking, you haven't had a single evening with friends in 2024. You've been all about this specific life of yours. You haven't had a single normal evening with friends drinking. I don't drink alcohol, but just like, I had 2 Cokes and some water. But I thought to myself, like, I didn't miss this. It was nice to have. It was a nice evening. But I'm almost ashamed to admit this because I love these people, but a part of me definitely did think, are you sure you should be here? Is it not something you could be doing? And that's perhaps also something I have to navigate through and figure out. But on my way home, I spoke over the phone with an old friend. Now, those of you who know me well, know of my relationship to Sean Fogarty. Sean is a gentleman slightly older than myself. Though similarly to me, he speaks in a way that an old man speaks. His voice much sexier though, I have to admit. Sean and I spoke about how I'm managing with the build-up to the run, how I'm getting on. And he said something really beautiful when I mentioned this documentary series that I'm uploading and I'm working on. And he said, it's fascinating to me because never would I put in doubt your physical capacity to do this. Like, it's almost a given. But I would love to witness what's going on inside of your head while you're preparing for this. And to some degree, this is why I do it. I'm happy to give this insight into my head to anyone who wants to listen. The intention behind it, I have to be stern with this and clear with this. The intention behind it is one of, I'm doing this for me. I want to keep it that way, but I am granting a look into how this is going. But well, it's late and I should really head to bed. I hope this one, goes up soon. Again, to anyone who is keen on watching these and to anyone who's made it this far in the video, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here. I can't really imagine I have much to say that is of much value to anyone. I think what I'm experiencing are very human things. But if you're here and you're enjoying this, thank you. I appreciate you. And if I were to leave you with anything, I would leave you with this. Please never underestimate the power of story. And never underestimate the power of your story. Perhaps all it takes for you to change someone's life is to start treating yours like it's powerful enough to change someone's life. Perhaps if you treat your own life, your own everyday, day-to-day experience with passion and with care, perhaps if you actually start paying attention to how you want to live, how you need to live to feel like you're living well, perhaps if you do that, you will start encouraging others to do the same. I don't really care how insignificant you may feel. I felt very insignificant in my life. But equally so, I've had people say that even just meeting me has changed their life. Please never underestimate the power of story, and never underestimate the power of your story. You have within you, I truly believe this, the capacity to become whatever you wish to become. And if what you wish to become is a beacon of hope to those who need it, get the fucking work. This world needs your best. You manifesting your best in this world is beneficial to everyone. To everyone. As a human collective, it is beneficial to everyone. And that's what we need. So please, take yourself seriously. You're amazing. You're fucking amazing. You're a talking ape on a big rock, launching through the stratosphere at a speed that is incomprehensible to us. And within you live these worlds of consciousness, of vibrant energy. You're amazing. Just treat yourself that way. Please. Anyway, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to work my ass off. Tomorrow's a new day. I have 2 training sessions. My first run post-injury, and then elliptical. I have a conversation with Flo Florence, my documentary film director and a good friend. She's an incredible woman. Truly a one-of-a-kind human being. I've never met anyone like her. And I have some shopping to do. It's going to be very sunny, so I'm going to be in the sun. A friend of mine is returning home, Abdul. I would love to see him, but Regensburg is quite a far way away, and I don't have a car. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's always an honor. If anyone's actually listening, fuck. Hats off to you, man. Much love. And please remember the power of story. Thank you. Much love.